Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 29 of Digital Blackface. Just Taliban things. We're here with the usual cast. We got Baku, we got Amy, we got Owl, and we've got. Oh, did I say Carl? I didn't say Carl.
No, you
But
didn't say Carl.
Carl is definitely here. But our special guest today. Shut up, Amy. Our special guest today for episode 29 is Siraj. Siraj, introduce yourself to the people, please.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته حبيبis. And it's me, Siraj Hashmi. How y'all doing tonight?
Thank you for being here.
Oh, dude, I was
Listen,
like,
if you can't say it in English, can you at least say it in German?
No one is speaking German on this podcast.
I just said
Really, why?
may the peace and may peace and blessings of God Almighty be upon you all. And then I said, my name is Siraj Hashmi.
Thank you, Siraj. Anyway, today.
Hear that? I think that I can listen to kebab.
Okay. Anyway, today's episode is a bit more serious than usual, especially considering we're not the most serious of podcasts. We're going to be talking about the issue in Afghanistan and the Taliban, but also, Lord Miles and that craziness, because that was pretty cool. But before we do all that, Siraj, do you mind introducing yourself to the people? Some people might not know who you are.
Absolutely. So, I'll give you the too long dithery version. I am a journalist. I am now independent, but for the last 5 or so years, I was at the Washington Examiner, which is a conservative publication. I had hosted a podcast on there called Hashing It Out, to go with my last name. And right now, I am the co-host of Habibi Bros podcast with my co-host Mujahid Kobe, goes by Jay, and you might know him on Twitter at Asslickin, because he is on his 14th account on Twitter. He's been suspended 13 times, and he and I started Habibi Bros podcast and Habibi Power Hour, and we just turned it into our own thing. It's pretty neat. So now I just kind of do that, and I also created the list of people who need their phones taken away, and that is based on people who put out really hot takes or really bad tweets or simply need to be saved from themselves. So that's just the long and short of it.
You know what? First things first, 13 times, that is undeniably impressive. I've only been suspended twice or 3 times. No, I've been suspended more than 5 times, but I'm on my 3rd account now. So I gotta say, I gotta give him props for that one. 13. That's...
Yeah, and every time he hits 10,000, that's usually when he gets the boot, and he just hit 10,000 this week.
Damn.
10,000 followers, yeah. So,
R.I.P.
I'm rooting
Asslickin.
for him. Yeah.
Okay, anyway, the first time I actually saw Siraj, I was watching CNN, and yeah, I know, watching CNN, but I was watching CNN back in 2019, and I saw him on CNN, and then I was like, that guy, he seemed to know what he was talking about, and then a year later, I followed him on Twitter, and I realized a few months after I followed him that was the same guy I saw, which was mad weird for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
No one has ever followed me based on my CNN.
No, I didn't follow you because of your CNN. I followed you because you said something funny, and then I realized a few months later you were the same guy.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate that. So,
thank you.
Okay. CNN, it isn't exactly the way it used to be, but I enjoyed my time when I went on there.
To be fair, a lot of news media isn't exactly what it used to be.
Well, that's true too. I mean, I think they stopped. Basically, every single news outlet stopped calling when COVID hit. So I just kind of gave up the whole dream of ever working in corporate media, and I just held on to my job at the Examiner until they forced my hand and wanted to take over my podcast, to which I said no. And then I decided
they wanted to take over your podcast. Can they do that?
Yeah. So basically, what had happened, and the long and short of it is, the Examiner wanted to basically take over all editorial control of my podcast, which I had 100% of, because they wanted to book all the guests and select all the topics, but all the guests had to be from within the Examiner. And I said, no, that's not going to happen. They said it's either that or it's canceled. And I was like, all right, I need some time to think about it. I called back 2 hours later with a letter of resignation ready and just said, thanks for everything. But I know this is basically, I think it's for the best interest of everyone if we just go our separate ways from here.
You know what? Like, no, trust me. On the way you're going on Twitter, like as popular as you are, you're definitely gonna hit some sort of corporate news media spot. Trust me.
In my opinion,
corporate media is kind of like soulless.
Yes, but exactly. And in my honest opinion, fuck the corporations. Make money for yourself, Habibi, and bring everybody you want with you. Inshallah.
Yeah, that's the goal, basically.
Declare jihad against corporate media.
The Taliban officially
put the fatwa on the social.
Yes.
Did you just call it a fatwa?
It's not fatwa. It's fatwa sounds like a French word. That's French.
I'm trying to say as French as I can because that's what most of them are.
Fucking damn.
Fatwa.
I feel like Jay just somehow snuck into this podcast. That guy butchers everything.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I said it in a French as French as I could because that's where most of them are.
Okay.
You couldn't let the resident French say it?
Okay, you know what?
That's true. You got me there.
Hey, how about we don't have any resident French and we get rid of France altogether?
Hey, amen.
Amy, you're European. You can't talk.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, fuck France.
Anyway.
I think as the only resident non-American here, yeah, fuck France.
Keep talking about that and we will put you a burqa.
Anyway, back to the...
Do you say Puerto Rico? No.
But to be serious on the topic, though, it is important that you get away from them if what they wanted to do was take editorial control from you, because this is the exact same thing with Tim Pool and why him building up all of his new shit was important. Granted, some people could see him as like the middling level of new age boomer, but realistically, you can't knock him for taking what he took from Vice and taking what he took from all of the media sources he worked with and saying, okay, I'm going to use this for myself now. And now they're all screaming mad because he has a kind of audience size that they cannot ignore him. And he's willing to at least play ball in some ways when it comes to YouTube, unlike, say, James O'Keefe and Project Veritas. It's a source where people can go to and they can't say, oh, we don't listen to those people. They're from CNN or they're from Fox News. It's like, no, this is Tim Pool. He's talking to them right now, like live. Yeah. And then they just like, no, stop him. We can't. He's too big.
Yeah, I find that media has now become very decentralized over the last few years. People have understood that their brands carry a lot of weight and they can turn those brands into monetary streams of revenue for themselves, but also build up something for them. Like Tim Pool, it's interesting because I just before the podcast I was listening to Tim's commentary on the whole Hassan Piker thing, and I know what we were probably going to talk about it in a little bit, but one thing that his one main criticism, which I didn't really think about, was because Hassan Piker has been criticized for buying a $3 million home in West Hollywood, is not that Tim Pool has any problems with him buying a $3 million home, but why he didn't use that money, say, towards building up his own media empire, which is a different way of looking at it, and I didn't think about that.
See, yeah, here's the thing. Tim Pool had an interesting take of, you could have used that far better, and I like the fact that he goes, I don't care about using it on a house. I care that you used it wrong. Like, I care that you didn't use it in a way that could help you. Mm-hmm. My personal thing on this is you're spouting out about how eat the rich, and now you are the rich. What do you do?
See, it's worse than that. It's not just Hassan Piker eats the rich, because it's weird. About a week and a half ago before, if you watch Every Frame Applause, shout outs to Mahler and everyone else, this was one of the things they were criticizing him for because he stole videos from XXIX. And this is a big argument, too, when it comes to actually understanding the ecosystem of how transformative content works. Because there's this big back and forth between Twitch and YouTube. And it's like, no. It's not Twitch versus YouTube. It's integrity versus theft. Because how many times have you probably seen a member of RedTube who streams on Twitch just basically just freely show your video out? don't credit you, don't talk about where you can be able to find the work, and just keep moving onwards. And the only time that they get drawn back is when somebody complains about it, like JXE did, and has somebody with a large enough platform to refer to it. Maybe like Poe, and ironically, like myself, as I start building up things, but more specifically things like EFAP. And it's like, okay, so address this. And Hassan's reaction to this, because the way that they act is, oh, well, this has never happened before. Nobody's ever called us out for this. This is attached to so many other problems where the issue has been the precedent set from this.
I was going to say,
Where-
shout out to the editor who also didn't get credit or money.
Oh yeah. All those editors that don't get paid, with this man making multi-million level dollars. It's not just like he just made it now. This is the nephew of Cenk the Bull Uyghur of the Young Turks. The people who
the big white boss.
Is that how you say his name? I have never been able to pronounce his name. Yeah.
Check yogurt.
Yeah. It's actually like I'm actually really afraid to say his name because I feel like if someone heard me say it, they think I'm saying an anti-Asian slur, and we have to stop Asian hate guys.
Yeah, I feel that.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Hassan likes to call himself Hassan the Hun, and he perpetuates this bullshit myth that the Huns were Turkic, when apparently historical evidence suggests that they were Chinese.
He does that because it's part of his brand, and also because if you actually say, "Oh, Hassan Piker is the nephew of Cenk Uyghur," it's like, "Oh, that's so big nepotism."
Yes, exactly. Let me give you like a little tip. This is the exact same pattern here in South America. You will find that every major communist activist down here, they have the best houses, they have the most money, they have the biggest media brands. Like, incredible how every for example left-wing president, they all get empowered, like saying, yes, we will fight the rich, we will fight the establishment, and then immediately when their term ends, they are the most rich men in town.
Yeah, that's interesting. I actually don't have any issue with Hassan Piker buying a $3 million house. I mean, he works hard. The dude streams for like 8 to 12 hours a day. And that's
Exactly.
so small.
Well, look, personally, wait, guys. Amy, 1 second. Look, personally, I don't have an issue with a streamer buying a big house. Like, the only thing, it's only when it's stuff like Nico Lul and Hassan, when, like, what they profess or what they claim or what they hold as their principles, or even what they claim is their principles, and then they engage in excesses that would go against said principles, you know?
It's
I agree on that. I agree on that.
with Patrice Colors from the leadership of the BLM organization, because BLM stands for Blight Large Mansions, because it's strange.
Exactly.
How many times have we seen permanently online Twitter activists with pronouns and flags and ACAB and like hammer and sickle in bio saying no,
Star
it's
Wars
fine.
profiles, basically, like it goes like a Star Wars title crawl.
Exactly. How many times have we seen so many people permanently online like that? Not just bread tubers, but their audience members, crumb tubers, the bread tuber parasites that attach themselves to them. How many times have we seen them say, oh no, this is acceptable and fine that we make money? And then they say, we're helping people. Why are you against this? And then they make off with the bag and they just immediately go quiet. Like, oh, I didn't see nothing. What are you talking about? It's normal for them to do that. Someone who devotes themselves as a communist takes your money, because they never want to talk about how it's based on Maoist principles, because then they leave it, and then everybody inside the organization is like, I didn't realize it was like this. I thought they were lying to me. And then people start roasting them on the timeline. And then when they actually go onto a program and they're asked, okay, so explain to us, how do you justify this? They're like, oh no, I'm enriching Black lives, my life, and my family's life. Now, excuse me as I build this fence around my big-ass mansion.
Exactly.
My problem with Patrice Colors buying a huge mansion is that she basically profited on the deaths of Black,
The suffering of others.
No, she profited. She profited on the Black lives that she claims matter.
Mm-hmm.
She profited on the Black lives that she claims matter.
Mhm.
Right.
See,
I mean,
my
also,
problem
she's
with
going
this
to the
is that I don't give, I don't give a fuck, really. I mean,
Amy, you're not American.
What I do have a problem with, though, shut up, Poe. What I do have a problem with, though, isn't the fact that they stole the money or did it. It's their fucking stupid followers who will just kiss their toes and act.
That's
like
true.
they've done
That's
no
true.
more work.
Exactly. I mean, if I can mention on that, basically, I agree with Carl says, because the thing is that, look,
Because my
again, I don't have a.
My problem wasn't that Hassan bought a $3 million mansion. My problem was people acting like they're like some communist larper, like, oh, he bought a home for his family. Yeah,
Exactly.
Exactly.
five bathroom home.
That's what I was
Sure,
gonna say. That was what I
family.
wanna say. Is that it's the same here down here in South America. Like for example, we had in 2006 there was a student movement, and pretty much all the leaders of the student movement became senators and mayors in some towns. And the fact is that these guys are now full of cash, and they pretty much surrender every like principle that they used to have. And when you confronted on that, they say, oh yes, I earn like more money than the average Chilean worker has, but I hate it. Yes. By the way, they tried to like I think it was a session in parliament where they were supposed to like to vote either to raise or lower their salaries, and pretty much all of these people voted yes. So to me, the
Mm.
problem is no, Hassan, it's okay. I don't have a problem with anyone earning his money and buying a nice house because I will do the same. The problem I have is that you constantly preach about how we must eat the rich while you become the rich. Because the thing is that if we lived in the communist utopia that you want to live, your job wouldn't exist. Not only that, but the people who support you wouldn't exist. Basically, you're living off capitalism by raging against capitalism.
Yes, they are helping rage against the machine by raging with the machine. And the biggest problem there, because this situation is going to happen again. This example is going to happen again. The exact context and the exact framework around it's going to happen again, because this is just the aesthetic. This is the aesthetic of the people who originally called themselves dirtbag leftists. I think they call themselves now dumpster leftists. They present themselves as topical cockroaches that more than happily will take issues, take topics, take news stories, take tragedies, take examples of their enemies and their political rivals and their active business rivals being ripped out of the fucking civility of their homes, or in the case of somebody that nobody likes, someone like Ethan Ralph, will take people like that and use them as a cudgel, while then using automated jackhammers, sniper rifles, fire rifles, metaphorically, but sometimes even in that case, literally advocating for it on the timelines, on Twitter, on their streams, in their podcasts, in their videos. And then when it comes down to actually living their principles, living their standards, and ethically being able to say, okay, yes, I can devout for all these things, but at least to put my money where my mouth is, they literally just stop talking. They take their money. They'll do exactly the same thing they say the rich are taking advantage of. They'll profit off of it for themselves. And then when you roast them, rightfully, they'll say, oh no, you're just using all these examples of my enemies to attack me. You don't have any real criticisms of me. Or worse, they'll say, oh no, you agree with me. So really, what do you have a problem with? You just hate me because you ain't me. It's the same egotistical nonsense. And there are so many times, and this is one of the bigger problems, kind of with Twitter, but with social media in general. Everybody has an opinion. And with everybody having an opinion, there are those who see things like myself and everyone else here does, and there are those who just see something on a headline, and then they repeat what the headline said without thinking critically and actually studying what's happening. So then those people get used as perfect examples to just justify their action, because they either didn't explain what the problem is, or they understand what the problem is, but because you explain the problem so poorly, they can just simply run around the issue. The same political debate me bros do the same tactic, and they've been doing it for 4 years straight. Ever since, well, realistically, it's longer than 4 years. They've been doing it ever since 2014, really. They've been presenting themselves as victims. They say that they're the small dude that they're just trying to build something for themselves, but they're raking in the cash behind the scenes. But then when you actually find out about how much money they make, like Philosophy Tube, having this entire diatribe about paying rent, and then you find out actually the amount of money you make on Patreon makes it so that you could actually pay your landlord double, it becomes, oh no, it's my money. I only have to give them what I owe them. It's just as simple as live within your means. If your means allow you to freely spread the money around the way that you claim you would, do so. There really is no reason for you to.
I just want to point out how sidetracked we got.
Yeah, we got really sidetracked. But no, I appreciate like all the points, but like we were supposed to move the Hassan conversation till after, and it's been the whole first 20 minutes.
Let me tell you, Hassan is a punching bag, okay?
Yeah, in fairness, this is how I would do it. I would start off with the light topic, and then I'd end on the heavy. So
that's fair.
That's fair.
That's fair.
The last thing I'll say on that topic, and we can move on. If Destiny can do it, you can do it. The reason they don't do it is because they're really just that lazy. That's it.
Yes.
Oh, can I just add one last thing? And I just want to add this tie-in because this is kind of similar to not just that Hassan Piker, but wanted to bring up the whole Andrew Cuomo thing, and that is
Ooh,
not even Andrew
yes.
Cuomo in
I'm just Italian, baby.
not. I am not a perv. I'm just Italian. You know, it's not just even the Cuomo stuff. It's what Time's Up the organization has done. You know, Hassan Piker and Time's Up have basically become the thing that they hate. Hassan Piker's become rich. He's become basically almost capitalist. And then the Time's Up, which is basically fought tooth and nail to try to get like companies and people to be more transparent about sexual abuse and misconduct happening in the workplace, had their employees sign NDAs to not speak freely about their experiences at the organization. Now, if that isn't ironic and make you want to, like, you know, put your head through a wall, I don't know what will. But that's just kind of like where we are. Everybody somehow becomes the thing they hate. Like for me, for example, I growing up, I was a big lib. I was a big I wouldn't say I was a leftist, but I was a big lib. One of the things that I was very anti-war. I think I probably moderated more in my views, but I think if 16-year-old Siraj looked at 33-year-old Siraj, and seeing how I would go on Fox News or go on even Newsmax, which I did today, they would not even recognize that person. So I wouldn't say I became this thing I hate. I would just this is how I look at it, because I understand that Muslims in America aren't exactly the most savory individuals to a lot of people. And so the way to bridge that gap is really to just talk to as many people and treat them the way they want to be treated. And that's kind of just led me to this path where, yes, I'm a journalist, but I'll never be an activist. But the one thing I would advocate for is for people to at least be a little bit more accepting of Muslims. And I think it's helped in some
Absolutely
ways,
agreeable.
especially with the whole conversation about Sharia. I mean, look, it's like 5-6 years ago, the main topic about Sharia was that it was creeping throughout the entire country.
That was a
And then
weird time, wasn't it?
I just took that shit and ran with it and just been like, yeah, let's fucking go. Let's actually implement this thing. And every single thing that I saw in the news that could even move the needle even a little bit on Sharia, like even for example, last year, Donald Trump, there was a headline that said Donald Trump is skipping lunch, and this was like the first week of Ramadan. I tweeted something along the lines like, Alhamdulillah, brother Donald is observing Ramadan. MashaAllah, this is excellent news. Something like that. It's happening.
In the words of a great man, you got to get shit popping, right?
Absolutely.
By the way, Siraj, I do have a question for you from chat. Someone named Axios wants to ask, yo, Siraj, how's it feel to be surrounded by people that wake up before 2 p.m.?
Feels nice. It feels nice.
I fucking want chat already.
Siraj,
Okay.
can I ask you a question? It comes from. I always wonder this. How does a Muslim know where Mecca is when it's time to pray?
It's usually so. It is obviously based on location. There are now tools to help you find.
Is there an app? It's
where
basically
yeah. There's an app now, but I always known, being on the East Coast of the United States, that due to the distance, it's not that you face east. You actually face northeast because of the distance around the globe. It's actually shorter to pray. It's actually shorter distance to say, like, if you're flying from New York to London, they don't fly like direct line, straight line. It is like a circle, like a semicircle. So it's almost like that. You're praying towards Mecca from the East Coast of the United States. It's basically northeast. So it's I just have a good sense of direction now, basically.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's actually a kind of neat little thing that comes out of it. You never think about that.
Before I just carried a compass.
Okay, guys.
Or you could do what I do, and that is be a bad Muslim and not pray 5 times a day.
Just forget about the call to prayer.
Okay. Let's actually get back to what was actually the topic of conversation today. So if you happen to be living under a rock for whatever reason, you should know that over the last week or so, stuff went down in Afghanistan. Let's just call it stuff. So pretty much the Taliban recaptured Afghanistan, Kabul, all that, and if you've watched any of Biden's speeches, you know that none of it is his fault. So,
Except for all of it.
Carl, you have to understand. He said he did not say that any of it was his fault. So we can't say it's his fault. Come on. You have to understand that.
He blamed Trump. He blamed the Afghan army. Blamed
Guys.
everyone.
He is the president. His word is law. You can't. He did not say he did anything wrong here.
I mean, he forgets when he wakes up. When he wakes up in the morning.
Owl. He said he did nothing wrong.
We can't say he did anything wrong, dude. We have to imply it.
Yes.
Okay, so
The fuck when you complete your predecessor's fucking words under your administration and proceed to blame your predecessor for it.
I just like to mention,
I
imagine
just
this.
realized he's in charge now, right?
I would just like to say, imagine if Trump were in president right now.
Oh, it would be horrible.
Oh, it'd be over.
Yeah.
it will be over. I will tell you.
Congress would
Wait,
impeach him
hold
and
on, guys. Trump is still the president. Okay.
So somehow
I
this
still-
is
I
still
still
Trump's
love that.
fault.
Just
It's
coming
still
to us
Trump's fault.
live from his bunker in Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, Carl, this is a good question because the media will probably just bury this but I believe that if Trump had been was, let's say, just the president, this will be a much bigger issue. You will see the media running stories about how the Taliban is this awful regime that punishes women and stuff like that. And it's funny that I remember seeing that journalist from CNN saying, "Oh yes, they're shouting death."
You know what? No.
Mostly-
Let's. So I have to give the story. She wasn't in the context of what she said. She was saying that like she expected to feel more scared, but they weren't engaging the people violently from what she could see. So even though they were saying that, she felt oddly that there wasn't that much tension in the air as there could have been.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you also have to not, it is understatement of the century that the Taliban is an oppressive regime.
Mhm.
And they will still treat you with respect to your face, but they will stab you in the back later on. And to Clarissa Ward's credit, I mean, no one on the ground has been reporting on Afghanistan as well as she has. And while she had said that whole thing, and conservatives and people on the right were largely dunking on her for saying that they're saying chanting death to America, but they seem friendly. Her immediate comment right afterwards was, "It's utterly bizarre." And
Yes.
like that whole thing right there.
I mean, yeah, if she's noticed
it's-
both of those things, it has to be nothing but
Yeah.
bizarre.
Absolutely. And I think she's done a great job. She actually is truly one of the most badass journalists.
Everything that I said about her, I will give her absolute respect for going out there and doing this shit right now.
I mean, and it's not just Kabul and Afghanistan. She was reporting in Syria during the Syrian civil war. She could have easily just been she could have been kidnapped just like James Foley and beheaded. And she took that risk and she went ahead and reported the story. Like, I had the utmost respect for her, and I think she got a really bad rap that time. And I listened the fuck out of people who were trying to dunk on her for it because it was really unfair. The fact that she would put her life on the line like that. And being a white woman, an American, and a woman while the Taliban is taking over Afghanistan, that takes balls that I don't even have, because obviously they're in my wife's purse.
That's my guy.
But that's an important detail to actually list, because a lot of that's to the topic I just
Yeah, man, the wife's
covered on.
purse is really heavy now.
Like, the biggest issue there that a lot of people didn't get is the fact, number one, a lot of people were getting their news directly from Twitter. So there was like three things running simultaneously at the same time. There was information about Lord Miles being dropped on 4chan. There was the actual footage coming from the ground, from live leak footage, from people talking inside of hushed discords and tones, and then the actual corporate media reporting on things. And then the fourth factor of it all cycling together once it was actually coming from the official sources. In her case, people were dunking on her not because she was in the wrong for what she was doing. Maybe a lot of that was the absurdity of people hearing it, but not hearing the full clip in context. The fact that they just decided, oh, I saw a thing, and it's like this other thing, so we're just going to shitpost about it. Just shitposting on it because of the audacity and the outright stupidity of how all of this coalesces together, harmonizes as a whole narrative, as a meta-narrative on top of it. And then just the fact that her saying it in that order just evoked people's response of fiery but mostly peaceful protests.
That's true.
That's what I was about to say.
I can totally see that criticism if that clip had played out the way it did. Well, like if it played out differently, like the Kenosha thing with the fiery but mostly peaceful, like that is absolutely warrants the type of mockery that it deserves.
I agree with that. It's just that the thing I want to comment is that I understand why people will dunk on her because of that comment. But also, I think that I agree with what Carl said. Is that case that we were receiving information from multiple sources? Basically, because if you watch the media, basically the corporate media, you will be like, "Ah, no, everything is fine. Everything is completely fine." But no, you're watching the actual information that is coming out. And for example, one of the things that surprises me, if you watch the media, they tell you, "Oh, the Afghan army has 300,000 soldiers." Only thing that they don't tell you is that on paper they had 300,000 soldiers. In reality, they had even less than half in active service. That's why the country fell so quickly. The other thing is because of the withdrawal. But the thing also to me is that I saw people, for example, there was an article, I think it was posted by Russia Today, that basically was like pointing out, hey, look, the Taliban has a lot of American-made weapons. And the people immediately were commenting saying that, oh, these are the weapons that they gave them to fight the Soviets back in the 80s. Yeah, I'm 100% sure that telescopic sights and laser dot pointers existed in the 1980s.
Can we break that down really quick, Siraj? Because that's flabbergasting to me. The entire idea of how much
Apparently we left $80 billion worth of equipment.
Yes,
vehicles, planes.
I really just want to laser focus on that for a bit, because all of this goes back before Biden took office, right? Trump negotiated a deal with the tribal leaders in the area that they were going to leave. We were going to get rid of our equipment. We were drawing out everything of ours, and we were going to leave those who we left in charge of the government in the structure of power. So that if something were... Yeah, go ahead, Siraj.
I was just going to say that in addition to the equipment that we left there, Afghanistan, just to put it into context, we had 3,000 troops in Afghanistan before the Taliban took over. For perspective, we have 4,000 U.S. troops in Bahrain. We're not even at war with Bahrain, and we have 4,000 troops there. And it is maybe 1/69th the size. Sorry, I had to.
It's like it's an island in the middle of the ocean.
It's an island in the middle of the Gulf. We have.
I'm gonna Google it real quick to confirm.
In Germany, we have 35,000 troops. In Italy, we have 12,000.
Wait. Why are there 35,000 troops in Germany?
Because of World War II, we were big.
Yes.
Yeah, World War II. That's basically our country. We have 53,000 in Japan. We have 26,000 in South Korea. We have 6,000 in Guam, even though they're part of the U.S. So I don't know why, but basically, we have so many troops around the entire world that having 3,000 in Afghanistan and still calling it a war, I feel like I was duped and misled here, because I have been calling it a war for the last 20 years, and I look back at how things have been essentially characterized as 100% war for 20 years.
You know what?
We have 3,000 troops there. Just the presence of having troops there was enough to deter the Taliban, and 3,000 troops was enough to keep them at bay.
Not only 3,000, Siraj, but
about that, right? So, I mean, could you even call that a war? It's like
No,
it's
you
like what,
can't.
3,000, 4,000 elite trained soldiers with Apache helicopters and Humvees and an ungodly amount of ammunition versus like a 56-year-old blind Taliban soldier with an AK-47. Can you even call it a war?
You know
I
what?
know what I'd call it: a bodyguard protecting
Eight-
the
Slaughter.
Look.
Yeah.
It's $80 billion, 200 aircraft, 75,000 vehicles. Look, all of that, and in fact, let me show you guys a video of the Taliban. Like this came out like the same day all this happened. Like while people were falling from airplanes, they took video of something else that still made me shake my head. Just let me bring it up so you guys can
Is
see
the
it.
Taliban in bumping cars?
It's the Taliban in bumper cars, yes.
I knew it.
I love this video.
Yeah, because look. I don't.
think it's 3 days old.
Why? When I saw them in bumper cars, I was like, why are you guys like? This is hilarious, of course. Like, in fact, I'm laughing as I think about it. But why are you guys in bumper cars? What is the purpose of this?
Well, realistically, it has
Wait,
to
Carl.
be-
The video's playing. Oh, it still makes me laugh just looking at it. Like, oh.
I mean, I wouldn't consider it a war with
War out there. America would have like wiped the Taliban off the face of the earth. Like,
I mean, I wouldn't consider it a war when parts of Afghanistan were effectively ruled by the Taliban, while the government was in power. Like that's not a war. It's like I will say, like I'm not so sure how to say it because it's like
It's military upkeep. And
It's military upkeep.
I can explain the reason why. It's 2 factors. The number 1 factor is when you are dealing with the kind of things that happen out there in the Middle East, you cannot use the Western model of diplomacy. It is not about who has what, where, and why. It's about your word. Realistically, when it came down to it, no matter how you feel about Trump, he understood world politics because he was a businessman. He understood how to deal with foreign countries. He understood the art of the deal, essentially. And that when it came down to it, when you're talking about a barbaric warlord who thinks in terms of not using religion as a cudgel, but literally just using it as a tool. Because the Taliban are not people who are truthfully fundamentalist devout. They use the theology as a recruiting tool to bring in men so that they can say, you see how the American fucked us? Come, brother, come. We will ride on jihad and we will remove the infidel from our land. That's the way that they think when it comes to actually dealing with the region. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to the deal that Trump made, he's like, we're moving everything out. This is my word. We're doing it on this day. This is what was going to happen. So as long as they maintained that promise, if everything had gone as such and they left the weapons to those that would have been the fundamental point of power in the region, if anything was tried by the Taliban, it would have been seen as a direct threat to a legitimate regime, and therefore they would then receive more help. This is the game of war, you see, using people as proxies so that they can simply say, "Oh, we're not trying to create a war. We're just supplying our allies. We are defending the people who we promised to have alliances to."
Exactly. Like I remember that in the agreement of Doha, Qatar, I think that the Taliban agreed that they were going to do anything. They're going to take action against Al Qaeda militants inside of Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. There was an agreement being made, and the thing is,
actually, one second.
Again, I agree with Trump on that. Trump went to North Korea. Let me tell you, Trump.
When you really think about it, guys, I just want to point out when you really think about it, it's no longer about nations, ideologies, or ethnicity. It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines.
Oh my god! No.
To do it. I'm sorry.
Can someone make a jihadi Metal Gear Solid, please?
Oh, Sophia Narwitz. Sophia Narwitz already did it. Oh,
what? I got you.
The number 2 thing.
I'll do it for you guys. I'll make the jihadi Metal Gear Solid.
Please.
Thank you.
One thing I got to point out. So actually, and I haven't really told many people this, but I was brought into the State Department like a few days before the Trump administration announced that they have reached an agreement with the Taliban. in Qatar back in 2019, early 2020, I think.
That's dope.
And it was kind of a surreal experience because they're telling us that they have reached this agreement. It was one of those things that they were obviously uncertain about, because when you deal with the Taliban, you're basically working on just verbal assurances, and there's no sort of practical impact that anything's going to work. And obviously we know that it didn't work. I was very hesitant to say that this was going to be something that will work under the Trump administration. And I am actually kind of surprised that no one has really caught on to the fact that the Biden administration has said that they are working with the Taliban to ensure safe passage of both American citizens trapped in Afghanistan, as well as all of the Afghan civilians who have helped the United States government, both contractors and just run-of-the-mill civilian. And the Biden administration is telling us that he is taking them at their word and almost sounds grateful for them for allowing safe passage. When you're on the ground in Kabul, they're taking people's passports, both American civilians, American citizens, and Afghan civilians. I mean, the story that's being reported right now, or whatever is being spun by the White House, is a complete lie on its fake. And the fact that I watched Biden's presser earlier today, and the White House press corps did widely a good and commendable job in trying to press the president on his policy in withdrawing from Afghanistan this way. And look, I wanted to get out of Afghanistan too, but the way that President Biden did it is the worst possible way that you can get it done.
Saigon #2, baby. Saigon #2.
Yeah. Like when I see the image, dude, the images. When I was seeing I was seeing in the news, like down here, showing it, the helicopters just picking up people from the embassy. I was like, they do. There's a truth when they say that history repeats itself, because it was a very same kind of image. And the thing is that I watch also Biden's statement. And the thing is that Biden was defending himself, basically saying that it was a choice of either leave or stay. And the thing is that, old man, the problem is not that you left, that the American forces left because people wanted to leave Afghanistan. The problem is how you did it. The problem is that the chaotic way you did it. The problem is that you keep telling people, no, there's no possible way that the Taliban could conquer Afghanistan. I mean, let's remember, Biden said that you needed F-15s and nukes to take down a government. The Taliban did it with some technicals and shitty AKs. And seeing the images of people just piling up on the planes trying to escape. This will be his legacy. His administration, that's his legacy. And it's basically his legacy in foreign administration, I tell you. That's the problem. And now they're saying that Biden is going to have like a rest in Delaware, like spend a weekend in Delaware.
Camp David?
Siesta, if you will.
Soviet did it. Soviet did it. Like, come on, man.
His
You know
legacy
what?
is going to be pistachio and failure.
Exactly.
Did you guys hear specifically?
Chocolate chip and failure.
Yeah.
No. Did you guys hear what just came out today about like Al Qaeda? Like Biden said that that Al Qaeda was gone from Afghanistan, and then the Pentagon said, yeah, well they're not. They're still. The Pentagon was taking questions, and they said Al Qaeda still has a presence. They're not exorbitantly high, but they're still there. So now it's just looking like Biden has no idea what's actually going on.
It's like usual. It's like he doesn't even know where I doubt that he even know he's president.
No, he knows he's president. He knows he's president. Come on.
I mean, I think that he acts like he's still vice president. Like they're saying, so statement on Afghanistan. Oh, where's Obama? He's gonna come to see me? No, he's busy. So
I would say that it's more like as the dementia clearly sets in, because he's very clearly demented. As the dementia continues to set in, we are seeing a bit more of the much sinister variation of the Bush trying to remember his name, his vice president's name.
Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney.
Yeah, Dick Cheney dichotomy here. But it's more sinister because you see, Bush Jr. was pretending to be retarded. He knew what he was doing. He was being affable, so that you can't really be mad at me. I'm jokey. Whereas Biden, he will temporarily have moments of insanity, and he'll try to challenge people when he gets very flustered and exhausted. He will try to physically intimidate people and call them things like "sonny," "boy," call them out of name. He'll get really upset when he can't get his words out correctly because he knows how many times, with how many fucking earpieces he has to wear,
That one time
what
a
he has to
fucking
do.
reporter asked him questions and he couldn't answer,
Yeah.
so he just started, "Whoa, what's your problem?" And then
Yeah, he started like, "Come on, man. This is like
I
saying."
think it was what's his name? Ed O'Keefe from CBS. He's like, why?
Yes.
Or for example, there's another one where he was telling a black journalist, "Did you smoke crack?"
Oh my
Mhm.
god.
I think it was crack or cocaine, but the same thing will apply. Like let me tell you, I always say that. I say this in my own podcast. Basically, Biden is 10 seconds away from saying a racial slur, or for calling it's basically saying a racial slur.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Let's unpack that a bit, because we spent the last 4 years, let's say 5 years, 5-6 years, calling Donald Trump a racist, saying that there's a tape out there of him saying the N-word.
You know what? Look,
Biden
here's the
says
thing.
N-word on camera in front of the entire world. Twitter's gonna explode, and I cannot wait for it.
Look, here's the thing.
We
Like,
already have to live for the day.
look,
I
already
do
have the
think that, I
PUBG
do
pictures
think that
put up.
I do think that Biden still uses the word colored.
oh, he definitely does. He definitely does.
Oh, yeah?
He definitely does. But look, when it came to Trump, like I considered Trump like the same way I consider Paula Deen. Like, if you're like over like 55, like I'm just like anything you say, anything that you do, I already understand that you might have used the N-word as a slur in the past, and I'm not going to hold it against you in the future. But I'm already aware that you're an old person and you probably did it, so it doesn't really matter. I'm already accepted it. It does not matter to me.
The one thing that actually is interesting because of this is actually what happened before it. I sent some links of actual reporting that I did, just paying attention to the news and then showing the reaction of it as it happened live. One of these things that happens a lot. This is the reason why Biden does a lot of these fucking photo ops with him walking around the White House throughout the halls of the East and West Wings. And why that one very famous, sketchy outside interview that is real just looked fake because of the angle at which they had to film him from. Because they didn't want him to have any of his words he was muttering be picked up on the microphone, and they wanted to make sure they could control the ability of him being seen. Oh, goddamn.
You
Him being
okay?
seen on camera.
Okay.
Yeah. But one of the interesting things that came from this was a photo op that they did inside of, I guess it was a war room, where he was meeting with officials in the area. Because the long and short of it is he burned his assets in the area. That's the long and short of it. On screen, you can see what department they're from, who they are, and specifically Doha Station and CIA operatives operating in the region were burned. And because of this, one of the more, I would say, sinister and fucked up parts of this, what came out of there, but also kind of funny, is that because he burned these assets, and it was not just U.S. officials, but also those who were in the government that were executed by the Taliban as they were going through the streets. Something that they didn't really report very well. They didn't show that the energy that the Taliban had on the streets was very much, we're going to stab you in the back when the cameras are off, but effectively being affable in that way. But one of the things that they've been doing is they've been using online media to be able to collaborate and talk to each other about information they had. They took that information and they started hunting down these officials, taking them outside and blowing them away. And in the region as a whole, they started looking for influencers that lived in the country. We're burning them out, and then you finding their Twitter hashtags through their OnlyFans links and going after their families and also them in the country, and doing so on 4chan. It could have been people being edgy, it could have been somebody lying, but the fact that there are accounts on Twitter that are getting to the point of being officiated almost, and Jack Dorsey and all of his infinite wisdom saying, oh no, we're going to have actual terrorists on the platform. But
Yeah, what is that whole business? Yeah.
That is really weird.
What was that
How do
article in the Washington Post? There's an article in the Washington Post that said, "Why is Trump banned, but the Taliban is still allowed to be on Twitter?" It's because they play by the rules. Like, get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Dude, I mean, let's put it in here. Like Trump, what's his worst crime? Oh, his worst crime is that he was the candidate they wanted to win. The Taliban. Do I even have to explain what the Taliban had done? Like a bunch of terrorists that pretty much want to plunge their country back to the Middle Ages. Well, it was always in the Middle Ages, but basically, who is the biggest baddie here? I mean, I was also banned from Twitter. What's my worst crime? I don't know. I like Latinas.
No, I think it was you made fun of white women, and that's why they banned you.
Yeah. But here's the thing: everyone makes fun of white women. Everyone makes fun of white women. Okay.
I still can't believe they banned you for. I've never seen anyone get banned for making fun of white women on Twitter, except for you.
Look, let me tell you this. I'm gonna convert to Islam. I'm gonna jihad again. It won't stay that way. But maybe if I'm yeah, exactly. Inshallah. Maybe if I'm an Islamic terrorist organization, maybe I will be allowed to have Twitter. Yeah, that's it. Baku, we're declaring the Islamic Emirate of Latinistan.
You know, hey, if that's what gets you to convert to Islam, I'm all for it. All right.
Oh my god.
Inshallah.
Big news! Clarissa Ward just got evacuated from Afghanistan.
Oh shit. No, it's bad. I mean, like the fact that journalists are now leaving Afghanistan is a really bad sign, and I don't think that's a very, if you don't have reporters on the ground, that is, things are about to get worse because now you don't have the eye of the world keeping a presence on the activities of the Taliban.
No.
Now the Taliban can basically get to work and really fuck up their own people.
I mean, people are handing their kids, literal babies, to U.S. soldiers over barbed wire fences to evacuate them. Like, like there was a journalist literally the other day, a journalist and his cousin who got shot by the Taliban.
Right.
Like,
and you got fucking an AP journalist like crying about being dragged on Twitter by Ron DeSantis's press secretary. And that it's just like
it's very odd
versus like actual people who are getting hurt for doing their job, and that is a fucking. I mean, like people don't understand how good they have it here in the United States doing their job as a journalist. And
I mean, they evacuated the all girl Afghanistan robotics team though.
Oh, so you're saying they did nothing about the all boys team? So they're about to get a taste.
Wow. It was the old boys team that tried to kill them.
Oh my god,
Osama! Before we continue on the conversation, since you already said that you wanted to pledge your and convert to Islam, I'll have you recite the Shahada. So whenever you're ready, I want you to.
Let me read it. Like, is it's on the flag of Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, I think so, but maybe it's La ilaha.
Yeah, La ilaha
Illallah.
Illallah.
Muhammadan. Rasulullah. It means I bear witness there is no God but God, and Muhammad is the messenger of God. Congratulations, you're not Muslim. Takbir. Allahu Akbar. Takbir. Allahu Akbar.
We're on a watch now. Everyone watching this podcast, you are now on a watch list. Congratulations.
Oh my god.
You all got on the watch list as soon as you invited me on here. So
you know what? Look. Look. Honestly, look.
Black flag.
You know, all I'm saying about like this, like I knew things were worse than fucked when I saw people falling from those planes. Also thank you, Pinkalo, the driving ape, for the super chat. Appreciate it.
Can we talk briefly about the fact that they needed to have an Apu Frog account actually argue and negotiate for the release of victims?
Yes, it was. The best part was a Spanish Twitter account. Like it basically was negotiating and saying like, can you, like, we Spanish hate the Americans too. Technically, Also, Sadiq, I found out how big a Bahrain is. Bahrain is 290 square miles, and it's made out of 50 islands, with basically the largest one being the most populated. An interesting fact about Bahrain: there is 1 million people living in there, in which 700,000 are Bahraini. The rest are East Asians who work in the oil rigs, and 40% of the population is Christian.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that actually. Hey, Amy. We
Amy?
found the country version of you. Small, but tons of people like.
Oh my! Look,
Can I read one of my worst tweets?
no, you're not allowed. You're not. No, you're not allowed to read your tweets on this podcast.
No.
I'm not allowed to read my tweets on this podcast.
Joke. It was funny. It was not
It was funny. I'm gonna give you that.
Okay, fine.
Amy, women are not
No,
funny.
I said I was gonna. Okay, I'm pretty sure.
Women are
someone
not women are not funny.
gonna
That's
convert
that's
to
the,
Islam
that you know that we should like put that in like an
with
Islamic
haram
flag instead of the
things,
Shahada.
So that way they would stone me.
Siraj, can we get somebody on that?
Yeah.
Money on what?
Can we get somebody on to make a Islamic flag that says women are not funny?
Like the Shahada style of the Shahada.
Oh my God! You're all.
I'm sure we could find a graphic designer that with Habibi who's willing to do that.
You're all terrible. Anyway, Amy, what's the tweet that you wanted to read?
Okay, so I said I'm just gonna convert to Islam to do haram things, so that way they can stone me and satisfy an king.
Oh.
What I
Oh, fuck.
I'm not surprised.
Oh, of course. I mean, thank you, Axios, for the $2 super chat.
You with 30 shoes for your insult.
Takbir, the caliphate grows by the day.
Put in the burqa, whore.
Oh my God! Let's bring it down like a little bit. Like let's just like PG TV 14.
Down a little
Okay,
bit. We
okay,
did a
so-
podcast
okay,
on Chris Cam, by the way.
Okay, yes, we did a podcast on Chris Chan. Okay,
It was monetized, by the way.
I don't know how. Look, I don't know how that got monetized.
This?
I don't know how that one got
It got
monetized.
monetized because YouTube is ass.
No,
Exactly.
there was literally 10 minutes. I played 10 minutes of that call, and they still monetized it.
Now we're at the subject of Islamic terrorism. Poe, how does it feel that you were a child soldier for Boko Haram?
First of all,
my
none
God.
of that is true, and we're not going to keep bringing that up because I was 4 when I left Nigeria. Okay, and I don't think there is no 4-year-old child soldier. Okay, you know what? That's not true. Actually,
Are you sure?
no, wait. Pause. Wait. Okay. Look. I can't say that because I've seen a 4-year-old execute someone. So you know what? That would be wrong of me to say that there's no 4-year-old child soldier. Huh? You got-
Again, I bring you back to Poe getting flashbanged and then getting unflashbanged while strangling a child.
First of all, that is not. I don't even know the context for that, but I'm gonna say that's wrong. Anyway, look. Yes,
No,
if you.
it's just your personality. You get
Look.
flashbanged, you come out to, strangling a child. That is your personality.
Anyway, if you haven't seen the video, it was from like 2015, and it was an ISIS video of a 4-year-old. It was an adorably cute little kid with an adorably cute gun, shooting a guy in a ball pit, and I'm like, wow, I've never seen something so cute and so violent.
And then you had flashbacks of your life in Nigeria.
Why is that your response? Oh yeah, I saw a 4-year-old execute someone. How was that so cute?
Yeah, basically.
Look,
I was
no.
calling you a child soldier. Then you say that you had fun.
Look, no, I'm saying, look, the kid was so cute, and the little gun in his hand was super cute.
He's
But
so
then,
cute with his little 5-year-old.
listen, you're not getting me. You're not getting me. Look, the kid himself was cute. The little tiny gun he was holding was cute. His little Aloha Akbar was cute. But the actual execution was not cute. Okay? So it was like 75% cute, 25% horrible.
This is all right. I don't know why.
Mathematics of a kid executing someone.
Okay, look,
This
Siraj,
is,
go
all right,
ahead.
This is the immediate imagery that comes to mind, and I'm thinking of the South Park Christmas episode with the.
Oh no!
and they're all devil worshippers. It's like, oh, cute little woodland critter, and then they all perform a demon exercise that basically unleashes like the spawn of Satan from
Okay, yeah,
the bowels.
it was kind of like that. Look, like
Yeah.
you have to understand, this kid looks so cute. Like he was like waddling forward, and like the gun in his hand was like it looked like a toy. It was like
Po. Basically, you're telling me that you will have kids just so they are child soldiers.
no, that is not at all what I said. That is I
but
was not.
You started this conversation. Look, I started this conversation. I said, "Oh, you were a child soldier." Boko Haram.
You
Then you said,
this on Powwow. This is how you.
Then you said, "Oh, I was like 4 years old, but I saw a 4-year-old killing someone." So I was like, "Oh, so you were a child soldier."
Look, you have to understand. This video, that was like one of the earliest videos I ever saw. Like maybe it was on Reddit or wherever I found it, or Facebook maybe. But look, like you if you watch it, you understand where I'm coming from. I'm not just like pulling this out of nowhere. Like the kid was cute.
Okay.
Two
And-
things. One, it's not going to be justified no matter how cute this fucking kid was, Poe. But two,
Of course, it's
Did
not
you
justified. Of course, it's not justified. I'm not saying it's justified.
Did-
It was only
Shh.
75% cute.
but two, the Taliban
Hey,
actually approve of anime.
Oh yeah, I saw that tweet.
That was weird.
That's kind of
And the Taliban are making Chad memes too.
Yeah, they
Oh,
are.
yeah,
That's just-
The Taliban learned how to meme before the left did.
So the Taliban are being
Actually, how did they learn to meme before the fucking? Actually, no, I answered my own question.
No, actually, the BBC did like an article on it about how they're using social media very well. The BBC and CNN did an article on how like the Taliban are using social media to their benefit, and it's like I was like,
That goes right back to what I was saying
like
earlier.
which of the groypers on Twitter are just Taliban who are just like chill.
Well, there's one of them that we know for a fact.
Nick Fuentes is basically going to convert to Islam because he's simping for the Taliban so hard.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Why did Nick Fuentes say that?
Looking to assume he hasn't already.
Died this whole time.
Okay. But by the way, it's just so funny to me because I remember watching and reading a lot of articles in the past that saying, "Oh, right-wing culture is learning to meme," and I was like, okay. And then you see the Taliban do it, and the thing is that for some reason they know how to do it. Like it's like 21st century terrorism, and I'm here just waiting. Okay, so when will we have a Taliban Twitch streamer?
I mean, it's coming. We've already had one, but not a person who was from the region, was also of the faith, and all that. But I think Siraj could probably
next time. At me next time, okay?
Yeah, Siraj could probably at that one right up. But this goes back to what I was saying before. People do not have a framework when it comes to understanding this shit because the majority of the people who we usually have to deal with and that we usually have evidence from when we talk about these issues, these are people who, that as much as they know, came from The Daily Show. And I don't just mean like now with Trevor Noah. I mean before with Jon Stewart.
You know what? Wait, let me actually say about when I was like 15, 16, I watched The Daily Show every freaking day. Okay, I love Jon Stewart. Like I started watching The Daily Show right before John Oliver took over for a little bit while John was doing something else. And like
I used to watch
I
it when was in high school, too.
love the show so much I would watch it on demand all the time. Like anytime I missed an episode, I would watch the show. If I even wanted to just watch it again, I would just watch another episode again. But then,
yeah, Jon Stewart was directing that movie Rosewater when John Oliver took over.
Then when Trevor Noah took over the Daily Show, like the thing is, I love Trevor Noah. I used to watch his comedy all the time. When he took over the Daily Show, I was like, yes, my two favorite things coming together. And then as I watched it, like about a year of watching it, I was like, this is kind of not as good as I thought it would be. And then it just kept getting worse.
And I mean, look, there's a segment of Trevor Noah that I like to remember because it shows how ignorant he is. Basically, when the FIFA World Cup in Russia was won by France, football, for you gringos, football is the one you kick the round ball into the goalpost because apparently some people call it soccer.
I mean, I call it soccer.
Yeah, heathens.
Yeah.
Fucking heathens.
Yes.
Hey, the United States men's national team defeated Mexico, and so as a result, in the Gold Cup, we can call it soccer.
Yeah, but like, listen. The Gold Cup is basically a cup of milk. It's a tournament that no one anyway. But so France won the World Cup, and the thing with France is that as any European team,
What?
okay, listen, as any European team, France has a lot of African players and a lot of Arab players.
Yeah, we
And
do.
the thing is, yes, and the thing is, no, in fact, during the 1998 World Cup in France, the typical joke was, "Oh, France is an African team because it's full of people from Senegal and all those countries."
Yeah,
And
I
the thing
remember
is
that.
Algeria.
Yeah, and the thing is that victory, I saw Trevor Noah saying on the show, "Yeah, Africa won the World Cup. Africa won the World Cup." And first of all, I was like, "Shut up, you stupid gringo," because you don't know what football is. Second, okay, you basically became an ethno-nationalist just out of skin tone. I mean, if these guys wanted to represent, well, the countries they came from, Senegal or Gambia or any of those countries, they will do it. But they don't want to do it. Why? Because they're French. They want to represent France because they were born and raised there. Or even if they weren't born, they were raised in France. So culturally, they're Frenchmen. People have no problem with that. And I saw idiots trying to tweet about saying that maybe this way people will stop being so racist. Well, and then England lost the Euro Cup, and we know what exactly. Dude, I will tell you this.
Shit went down.
The Economist tweeted out
Speaking of
something along the
soccer-
lines of
India.
the Economist tweeted along the lines something that the Italian team had no players of color.
And they won. And they fucking
and that
won.
they won.
Mm.
That's why
Yeah.
white supremacy is back on the menu, boys.
I mean, let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. In penalties, you never put the youngest players who are just playing their first big match. You put the most experienced one. This is something that even the most unexperienced coach in the football history does. But no, he decided, I'm going to put these 3 guys because I wanted the victory to make it look like, oh, we won because of diversity. No, you fucking lost because of diversity. And then we're saying, oh, Italy has no players of color. Yeah, and they won. So what's the point?
It's good that you went on that diatribe.
Speaking
So
of soccer,
The point is, you accidentally did the exact opposite of what you were trying to fucking do.
it's great
Yeah.
that you went on a diatribe so that I could explain the Daily Show and a lot of these pundit shows are literally fake news.
I mean, look.
Imagine
1 second,
what-
Crumb. Like, the thing is, fake news, yes, I've come to understand that. But can we all admit that when Jon Stewart ran The Daily Show, it was actually funny?
Yes, it
Yeah.
was actually
Okay,
funny.
good,
But that's
okay.
my fucking point.
I'll even admit the Daily Show. I actually really love the Daily Show, and I love the Colbert Report. So it pains me to
Man,
see
yes,
Stephen
it
Colbert.
Oh,
be
man.
the worst
I was actually
comedian
kind of
on
sad. I was actually kind of sad when the Colbert Report stopped.
Yeah, me too. And also, can we also point out the fact that in the final episode of the Colbert Report, you know who was at that party of people who came to show up to show their love for Stephen Colbert?
Donald Trump.
Henry fucking Kissinger.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Mhm.
Henry Kissinger.
Yeah,
so
Henry Kissinger.
speaking of soccer, right?
Amy, no more soccer talk.
We
No
don't
more
need to
soccer
about
talk.
soccer. We have
Look,
songs
look,
that's the
look.
need for soccer.
Look, Amy.
Hold
I
on.
did my
said literally nothing on this podcast. Can you shut the fuck up, Al?
No, I won't. Right.
So why does soccer sound so much like soccer? Can you imagine talking to somebody and you're like, yeah, just soccer, and then he goes home and beats his fucking wife because they sound too similar?
I mean, you're just talking about a regular day out in the streets of Kabul now.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
god damn it.
Oh shit!
Did you plan that?
I feel like they planned that.
That's even worse.
See, Baku, I'm an actual comedian. I see an opportunity and I take that shit.
You're
Anyway.
just an asshole. It works just naturally with me.
Anyway,
It's too smooth.
back to the point. What was the point that Siraj was talking about? Siraj, or
To
you,
get
what
back
was
to
your
the point that I was talking about. All of these shows, literally all of the shows, remove the mainstream corporate talk because we know they're full of shit. But
Mhm.
the Colbert Report, The Daily Show, Samantha Bee, I can't remember.
Ah,
her name.
Samantha Bee.
Michelle White,
Samantha Bee.
I think was her name. Michelle White.
Michelle Wolf.
Who was the person?
Michelle Wolf.
Michelle Wolf.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Who was the name of the person who was doing the Patriot arc on Netflix that got?
Hassan Minaj.
Hassan Minaj. All of these places,
Women
they
aren't
are
funny.
comedians, but they are also very much political pundits. They serve the point of not only being an easy way to serve news to a young generation, but make it seem trendy and edgy. It's funny that people will talk shit about rallies that were held for Trump, and yet people forgot the rally to remain sanity that was hosted by Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert, because they are very much activists, and that if it weren't for them, imagine how easy it would have been for a Republican win to happen during the years that their shows are running. Because here's the news being given to them by comedians that are just deciding to ignore the things, the way that gatekeeping actually works. And then imagine without them, how many people have no reference to anything political whatsoever because they're not getting the political explainer given to them by these people. Realistically, when you look at the debate in the Politburo scene, that's why a lot of these guys are seen and popular. They are doing the same thing they have done. And because of that, people don't have any goddamn reference to this shit, because all they know is, unfortunately, the fucked up variations of all of the ways that we look at Middle Easterners. We see them as towel heads. We look at them as people who are fiercely militaristic, very illogical, and inwards. And they're not. Like, there have been so many princes out of the Qatari crown that just love themselves some Steam, love themselves some visual novels, and play anime regularly with like millions and millions of dollars in their Steam accounts. The fact that
I feel like we could have made inroads with Osama bin Laden on his porn stash. I think, Osama, you're into hentai? Yo, let's
look.
It's not haram.
Let's revisit the whole 9/11 thing. We weren't actually trying to kill you. Can we do a little trade? I'll give you my best one for yours. And
look. Give us your information on your buddies, and we'll give you more hentai than you dream of.
I mean,
speaking of
there is one we can never. There is one person who, out of all of those regimes, we can still say was a piece of shit regardless of what was said. And what's his fucking name?
Saddam Hussein.
His son.
Uday Hussein.
Uday, yes.
No, he's a piece of shit regardless.
Wait, what's Siraj say? Siraj was saying something.
I was just saying on the lines of the whole rally to restore sanity. My family dragged me to that shit. I did not want to go.
Look. To be honest,
I'm so sorry.
This is the first time I'm hearing about it. This is the first time I'm hearing about it.
This is my more liberal phase. This was my more liberal phase, and I still didn't want to go. I was like, "Fuck rallies. That ain't my scene. This is garbage." And yeah, they still drag me. But Uday and Kusei is. I think you're looking for Saddam Hussein's sons. Is that?
Yes, it was Uday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm not gonna lie.
A true piece of shit there that I've heard on.
Look,
he's basically Arab Poe.
Grab the pork chop and just slowly started munching on pork chops over the mic.
What?
Go get some food in a little bit.
What? Look. Anyway, look. All I'm gonna say about all those pundit shows is that, yeah, when I was a teenager, those shows made me that was my most liberal period, because those shows, they were my whole political spectrum. That and Tumblr.
But in fairness, I mean, making fun of the Bush administration, they deserved that shit. They
did. They did.
Extremely satisfying pot shots.
They were incredibly corrupt, and they are, even to this day, I still think of George W. Bush as the worst president.
The Clintons and the Bushes were corrupt as shit.
Yeah, but even then, I might think of Bush today as, maybe the guy wasn't so bad in general.Maybe he's not a horrible person, but I still think he was a horrific president. And
the whole reason why you gringos went into Iraq and Afghanistan and Dick Cheney.
Oh, we ended up going into Afghanistan for a lot of reasons, but ironically enough, it's not just oil. It was specifically the poppy fields.
Yeah, I'm so tired of everyone just saying the same thing. Oh yeah, they were for oil. There are many more things that you can find in a country just beside oil. Venezuela has oil and has never been invaded by the U.S.
It's actually a funny detail. Actually, I'm not saying it's the complete 100% X and air, but I am telling you, look into this shit. There was a time period before the war on terror started, a couple of months, if not a year before 9/11, where the Taliban had control of the region and just outlawed all opium and poppy because it was considered and was declared anti-Islamic. and
Haram.
nobody wanted to fight them. So they drove down the world stock of opium and poppy for the use of things like Xanax and uppers and downers antidepressants by 90% globally. Not a supply of it, globally. All of the supply of opium in the world reduced by 90% in Sahala. But then, when the US regime came in and pushed them out, they not only replenished but doubled the production of that for the next 20 years. So, for 20 years, while we were in that region, that's why I said what I said earlier. It doesn't sound like it's an army fighting force. It sounds like a bodyguard protecting an American investment. We were there to pump the region for the opium so that we could produce easy, cheap Meximed variants of drugs, as well as, well, realistically, it's what it is. Generic alternatives and also name brand copies of medicinal pills that would then be over-the-counter prescriptions that were then getting used to addict the children. But then they lost all of that. And all of that, I promise you right now, it lost most of its value, ironically enough, because of Chinese fentanyl. That fentanyl.
You know what? I have heard a lot about that, but guys, we've been going on for a while. It's been well over an hour now. Thank you, Siraj, for being here. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Owl. Thank you, Baku. Thank you all for watching us. We appreciate you being here with us. Like and subscribe.
I would love to do it again.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Yes.
Like and subscribe, and if you feel like it, subscribe to us on Patreon. Thank you, everyone.
Always gay.
Have a great day,
Goodbye.
everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.